So, question, every morning, who here gets up, does their thing, their usual routine in the morning, like coffee, reading the Bible, working out, whatever it is, and then goes outside and gives their house a coat of paint to make sure it's visually pleasing to everybody else and acceptable, and then goes about their day? Probably not many people, hey? The reason why I say this is because God's shown me something, just due to COVID and lockdown and things like that. And he just kind of gave me that analogy that, if we're honest, look at me, I've got no makeup on, I'm wearing more so comfortable clothing. A lot of us, I feel, if we're having a home day, where we dress for comfort more so rather than outward appearance and how, visually aesthetic, which is fine. And it's also fine and okay to put makeup on and feel extra great about yourself and present yourself well as well. And it's good to train and to take care of your body and all of that. What God was showing me is just prioritizing things, and where our focus is so important. So if my focus was on the outside of the house, then nothing would get done inside of the house, which is where things need to be happening. I need to be doing the laundry, vacuuming the floors, keeping things clean, making sure there's no germs or dirtiness, or things are not getting piled up everywhere. So things are in order so that everything can run smoothly in the way that it should. And just everything's in order, and that helps a household run really well. And also, if you're keeping things clean, it's healthy, it's a healthy, good environment, But if I was every day running outside to give the outside of the house a coat of paint, then I wouldn't be able to get all the things done inside, or I would not be able to get some of the important things that needed to be done because my energy was being spent elsewhere. So I just feel that relates to us in general as people, with our bodies and our hearts. And so I've got a few verses to share. The first verse is 1 Corinthians 6 verse 19 to 20. Or do you not know that your body is a temple of the Holy Spirit within you, whom you have from God? You are not your own, for you were bought with a price. So glorify God in your body. So that is really important, that we do stay pure in all senses of the word pure, and be looking after our body so that, we're giving it good nutrition, we're taking care of our vehicle, so to speak, our vessel, who we are, but how we are, sorry. That is definitely important, but more important even is that we're taking care of what's in here, because that is what really holds so much value and what really matters. The next verse I wanted to share is 1 Timothy 4 verse 8. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come. So that's saying, it is good to train, it is good to be strong and take care of our bodies, but this is what holds the most value, is when we're spending time in the Word, when we're spending time in the truth, God, who He is, spending time with Him, we're praying, we're worshipping, whatever it is we're doing, we're spending time working on what's going on in here rather than what we look like out here. Because if you think about a gift, a gift wrap, we do wrap gifts to make them look nice, but what the person really cares about when they receive the gift is what's on the inside. It's not the wrapping paper. And if we were just offering someone wrapping paper, all nice and done up, and then they ripped it open and there was nothing inside, they would probably be a little bit disappointed or wonder what was going on. So my next verse is 2 Corinthians 4 verse 7. But we have this treasure in jars of clay to show that surpassing power belongs to God and not to us. So our treasure is God. Our treasure is the Holy Spirit and who is inside here. It's not what we're offering to the word, looking outwardly pleasing. Oops, dropped my book. But yeah, that's what is of most value, and we are his vessels. In 2 Timothy it says, if anyone cleanses himself from what is dishonorable, he will be a vessel, for honorable use, set apart as holy, useful to the master of the house, ready for every good work. So talking about vessels again, I just feel like God showed me, like, with a vessel, it's not important what it looks like on the outside. Like, I don't care what my cup looks like, really. Like, what's more important to me with my drink bottle or my cup is that, hang on, my kids are just being a bit loud. Guys, I'll be there in a second. I'll be there in a second. So what I really care about is that it doesn't have any holes in it, that it is good and strong on the outside so it can hold the goodness that I want to be pouring in or out into my body or out into something else. But the purpose of a vessel isn't its outward appearance, it's what it holds and what it has to, the fact that it can hold something and the fact that it pours, it can do what it is meant to do, which is to pour out or to hold things. And so us being vessels, what we should be focusing on is what we are holding, like what is inside of us, is really important, and that we are pouring out that goodness to others. But we are serving our purpose, which is to hold and house the presence of God, and to be pouring that out and sharing that with others. So our purpose isn't necessarily, it isn't what outwardly we appear to be. It is what we hold inwardly, being a vessel and being a temple of the Holy Spirit. And lastly, 1 Samuel 16 verse 7, for the Lord sees not as man sees, for the man looks on the outward appearance, and the Lord looks on the heart. And Matthew 15:11, what goes into someone's mouth does not defile them, but what comes out of their mouth. And Jesus goes on to say, for what goes into the body is later expelled. It goes in through the mouth and it's later expelled, but what comes out of the body, the issues of the heart, whether you have love and peace and joy in your heart, that's what's going to be flowing out of your mouth. And if you have hate or bitterness or resentment, that is what's going to be flowing out of your heart, out of your mouth. And what those two verses are saying again is what God sees and what he focuses on is what's in here. So there's so many more verses than that as well, but ultimately all the verses that I've shared with you, I just feel show that what counts is what is in here. It counts so much, and it's okay to care about this too, about our outward appearance and how we present ourselves to others, and it can be a good thing, but we just need to be so aware of what our focus is, to make sure that our focus is God and what is going on inside here. And if we're focusing on that every day, we're going to be benefiting from it. Others are going to be benefiting from it, and it's a lasting thing. It's a lasting value that it's not going to fade away. Outward appearance, beauty, things like that, they're great, but they fade. But this beauty and this strength and this value is only going to increase as we focus on that, as we put in good things into our heart every single day, and we're making sure that our time and energy are spent well, prioritizing what's going on in here and what we're feeding into ourselves, and what's coming in, what we're surrounding ourselves with and putting into our heart, rather than the outward appearance. So rather than going and giving our house a coat of paint every day. We're focusing on keeping things in order and keeping things clean and good inside so that everything is as can flow and run and be the best that it can be. So yeah, that's my thought. So hope it blesses someone, hope it helps someone. I just couldn't keep it to myself, but hope everyone's doing good in lockdown.